j'achèverai ce que vous avez commencé.
On raconte toutes sortes d'histoires.
C'est vrai. Tout est vrai. Le côté obscur. Les Jedi. Ils existent.
La force, elle t'appelle.
Stargate pour la francophonie. Il a joué un épisode il y a 18 ans. Et comme cette année c'est les 30 ans de la franchise.
Ah bon. Mais la statue, j'ai déjà vu.
Oui, Christopher.
Oui, hein.
C'est moi.
Ah, c'était toi.
Christopher Judge.
Oui, parce que.
Et Marina.
J'ai déjà vu la statue quand on était jeunes.
Hi John.
Marco.
Hi.
Hi John.
Tiffany. Oh, how are you?
I'm fine.
Wow, thank you. Good day to you.
Bye.
Please welcome to the stage, John Noble.
Right here.
Beautiful. I've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
we pride ourselves on our stage. Welcome, John.
Thank you so much, Amanda.
Welcome to Belgium. Is it your first time in Belgium?
No, embarrassing. No, I was here in 1979.
True. May we ask? Not for a comic con, etc.
No. We took a play to the Edinburgh Festival, and my wife and I, and then we decided to do our first big European trip. And this was our first country outside of the UK. So I have very fond memories of it. It's a long time ago though, isn't it?
Yes,
Most people weren't born then.
I was thinking the same. Is there anything that strikes you as being specific or peculiar about Belgium or Belgians?
So far, I've been very impressed with the people I've met. I've been signing all morning, just lovely people. Very kind and friendly, and loads of chocolates. I normally don't eat chocolate, but I did a lot. And you, of course, meeting you was pretty special. No, it's a beautiful country, and I wish I was to have more time here, but I've got to go to Italy on Monday to do another one. So that's what I'm struck by. And your presentation here is fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a great adventure.
Now, when I was in the UK, there's a famous drinking game which says, name 3 famous Belgians. Can you name 3 famous Belgians?
3 things Belgium?
3 famous Belgian people.
No.
Okay. Are you a soccer fan at all?
Well, no.
Okay.
I am, but in Australia soccer was played, but our main game, I think anyway, is Australian rules. There's also rugby and 2 lots of rugby, and soccer's very big now. When I was a little boy, soccer was just starting off, and I did play soccer for a while. I remember getting cast in an inter-town competition. I remember I got an own goal. That was too impressive. I was a goalie.
All right.
But I love watching it. I love watching soccer.
Okay. I'll ask you the same question tomorrow, so you can study tonight, so you actually would know 3 famous Belgians. I'm going to give you 2 hints. There's an actor, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes.
And if you're a fan of music,
Yes.
the saxophone,
Yes.
the instrument, was invented by a Belgian. Adam
Of
Sax.
course. That's a very important thing. My wife plays saxophone.
Well,
We'll have good common talking points now.
yes.
Yeah.
Did you know you're touching a Belgian instrument every day? You can tell her when you get home.
What?
Okay, I might have rephrased that. Now, you're Australian.
Yes.
Who would you say are the 3 most famous Australian people?
It's probably my favourite sport is cricket, and which no one else plays. So I could name about 2,000 cricketers that I love.
Nobody in Belgium plays cricket, so
No, I know it's going to be a waste of time. There's some good actors there, though. You know, a lot of Australian actors.
Margaret Roy? Isn't she Australian?
No, Nicole Kidman's probably the most famous, and there's a lot of us work in the States. Hell of a lot, actually. It's strange because it's a small country, and it's not really a very cultural country, and yet it turns out all these actors. It's surprising, really, but we all do pretty well, you know, around the world. Yes.
So another question you can rehearse for tomorrow. You want to? I'm going to ask you the same question tomorrow. So you're an actor.
I'm still jet lagged, give me a break. I'm lucky to remember my name today.
John.
John, thanks.
My love. You're an actor, obviously. What would you call one perk of being an actor?
Depends where you're doing it and how you're doing it. If you get lucky as an actor, you can actually make some good money. Most don't get lucky. I realised that when I was about 24 or something, that and I came across acting because like you, I'd done law, and but I found acting, and the first time I did it on a stage play, it's Antigone, and I realised how much I adored doing it, and I realised also that I was quite good at it. It's almost like the perfect combination of something that you really want to do that happens to suit you, and so that's mine. And it hasn't changed. I still feel the same about acting, and I've been blessed with some great roles over the years. I thought I'd retired, by the way, earlier this year. I had pressure from home in Australia. I thought, I better retire. I didn't particularly want to. And I got home, and I really didn't like it. I didn't like being... Anyway, I came back to do some stuff here in America, and immediately got offered a new series. So I thought, I don't really retire at all. Not yet.
If you wouldn't have become an actor, what would you have liked to become?
My background was really in law and accounting and those things, which I think are fine professions, but I didn't want to do them. I can't think of it. I mean, it would be great to be an international sportsman, but I wasn't that good. I don't know. I really, once I found acting, I didn't really look up. I did a lot of directing, but I mean, I was quite good at it, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. You know, it's a different mind space, and so I was very happy finally to just concentrate on the acting, and a lot of work in the stage. I was an artistic director of a theatre company for 10 years. I loved doing that, but no, acting is the thing. I don't know. Let me think about that until tomorrow too. Someone will tell me what I want to be.
Everybody come back tomorrow and we'll have the same different Q&A. Now, you've been an actor for, I'm afraid to ask, how many years?
Well, I really didn't start till I was 24, and I'm 76 now. That's a few years, isn't it? 40
52 years. Wow. what is the one thing that has changed most in the acting world in 52 years?
Well, from my point of view, at the time that I came into it, Australia really didn't have a professional scene. And so we worked in community theatre, which I love, and I still love it. And some of my finest memories are still in that time. So it's now become a very big business, and many of us have shifted into the Hollywood scene because it's very well paid, and changed. I don't know. I've got around to doing a lot of teaching of actors, and certain methodologies that I use myself, and I love that. I love seeing them evolve and do very well. So you know, you'd like to, and yet my heroes, when I was coming into it, were people like Al Pacino and Christopher Walken and the like, that breed of men. And you never think in a fit you'll get to meet these people. And I've worked with both of them now, and it still stuns me to think of that. You know, I'm up here doing scenes with Al Pacino. You've got to be kidding, you know. It's just beyond belief. And just recently we were with Christopher Walken as well. So life is interesting the way that evolves, isn't it?
Always. And do you get starstruck when you see Al Pacino? Are you nervous, or is it like we're colleagues?
There's an apprehension because I respect him so much, and you hear all the stories coming down. But he's unique. It happened to fit into the way I work as well. So we got on exceptionally well. Wow. And Chris Walken he is what you think he is. I mean, he's just this laid-back dude. Nice man. They're both good people. So I've had the good fortune to work with some fine actors over the years. Those two stand out because they were my heroes, and still are to some extent. And there's some wonderful young actors coming through. I lose a bit of touch with that because I don't follow it closely enough to know who the new leading lights are. But one of my kids will tell me. Come on, Dad. You should watch that show, right?
If you could have chosen any role that has been played by somebody else in the past to play yourself, which would you have liked to play?
Once an actor's done a good job of a role, I sort of enshrine them in it, and I don't envy them doing it. My forte, my favourite, is in complicated character roles. That's what I feel most comfortable in, and the more complex they are, the more it interests me. And I'm not very good at doing characters that are close to myself. I'm not. And I tell that to my agents, please don't put me up for those roles because I'm not very good at them. And they tell me, you're being modest. No, I'm not. I really am not. Too close. So I've been blessed to get a lot of, even when I was a young actor, I usually got to play older characters, complex characters, and that thrills me. That gives me so much to work with.
Now, obviously you're famous. Have you ever used your fame to obtain something? Like, you know, a fully booked restaurant and you would say, hey, I'm John Noble and can you
No, I wouldn't do that. No, I wouldn't do that. I don't kind of go along with that sort of stuff. If people recognise me and want to treat me a bit special, that's okay. But I don't go out seeking it. I don't go out and say, hello, I'm John Noble, I'm an actor. No, I wouldn't do that. And it sort of cuts against the grain for Australians to do that too.
Modest people.
Well, modest, yeah, but we Australians don't tolerate that very well when people have a big opinion of themselves, which is why we hate Donald Trump. I didn't say that. Well,
we were not going to talk politics or religion.
No. Is that religion?
Yeah, well, 95% of Europeans are not a fan of Donald Trump, let's put it that way. Before it's your time to ask questions, ladies and gentlemen, you can already queue behind one of the two microphones you can see. I got two final questions from my side for you, John.
Yes, sir.
If you could host a dream dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would you invite to your dream dinner?
Dinner, yeah. It'd probably be some historical characters that I've learned to admire enormously, and I'd like to have dinner with the Dalai Lama, for example. It's not going to happen, but you know, just inspirational people like that. Maybe not even famous people. I just like genuine people that have a positive effect on the world. You know, you could say Mother Teresa if you wanted to, but there's something about an aura that some people have. When I sit there and go, oh my God, what am I doing here with these people? 3 of them, you say? Well, oh God, I don't know. Do you know? Do you know who I'd like to have dinner with?
Probably Dominic, who was sitting here just before you, one of his choices was Jesus Christ, because he said I would have questions to him, which I found an interesting choice. Might be an interesting dinner.
Yes, it would be, wouldn't it?
It would.
You could always multiply if there was enough food.
Yeah, there would be wine for everybody.
Wine for everyone.
That would be good.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Final question from me,
Yes.
before we get these lovely people to ask you questions. If you were to interview yourself, which question would you ask yourself?
That could be very rude. What the hell are you doing here? I'd probably say to myself. It becomes, because I'm getting older now, it becomes a matter of the persona that you go through life with. And I'm at a stage now, a lot of that's questioned. And so I'm going through a most interesting period of looking at my life in detail and seeing behaviours that I don't actually approve of. I don't like them, they cut against the grain. And some I don't mind at all. I think I'd probably, if I was interviewing myself, I think I'd probably be more interested in my early background. I was a country kid from Australia, and a certain lifestyle, and the life I have now was completely, not even possible compared to what it's like now. But I find it interesting that the formative years that make a man or a woman who they are, I find those more interesting than whatever we're wearing now. So I don't know. I'd probably see if there was anything to be fleshed out in there. And then, look, I've thought about this too. There are some wonderful stories from when we were kids, you know.
Yes.
And I'd be inclined to go that way. And probably, I think the most surprising thing of all is, as I said, how the hell did you get here? How did you get here? This is beyond the wildest dreams of that country boy. How did you get here? By what strange sliding doors did you go that way instead of that way? And are you happy with the choices? I think it'd be something along the lines of, like I said, how do we get to be what we are now, and how authentic are we now? Are we still true to ourselves? And that's a tricky question.
It is.
I think that I'd go along those lines. It might be boring to everyone else, but I find it interesting. Yeah, it'd be more like that. And obviously there's going to be questions about some of the successful things I've done in my life too. You know, people often say to me, well, what was it like working on Lord of the Rings? And I can tell it was a once in a lifetime shock to be involved in that show, because it still is as wonderful and magnificent as it ever was, and still holds up 25 years later.
Absolutely.
So that's an interesting one. And other shows too, I mean, that I've done, how do you feel about those? I mean, Fringe is a classic example, which has gone on to be a massive hit. And probably my favourite character of all time that I played, the crazy Walter Bishop. How did that happen? I don't know. It was a good thing to have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wonders of life. Now, John, it's time for these nice people to ask you a few questions. I'm going to lay down some ground rules. English only, articulate in the microphone, one question per person. Please don't ask for free hugs or kisses or autographs or John's hotel room number or what have you. Just take it away. Not publicly anyway. No, publicly indeed. I have it if you want to. The person on the left, take it away.
Hi, welcome to Belgium.
Thank you.
I'm a big Tolkien fan, and there are a lot of talks about the hunt for Gollum and Ian McKellen saying he's going to reprise his role as Gandalf. The movie would play around the time that Denethor is alive. Would there be would he be interesting in reprising, and is there a possibility?
I don't know. I don't think I'd be interesting. I just, you know, I felt that when we did Lord of the Rings, that all of us hit a certain level and finished up being a masterpiece, you know. So where do you go from that? I wouldn't be interested in reprising it, no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's a very honest answer. Usually people always go like, yes, of course. So that's impressive. Wow. Person to the right.
Hi.
Hello.
I really enjoyed you in French.
Yeah.
My question is, was there ever a directional comment you received from a director that always stayed with you?
On the show? On that show?
On any show, in your life.
There are two very early in the piece, if you're into technical acting, two very early directors, two women as it turned out, gave me a note on what was a very good performance already, just a note, and it made such a difference to me. I remember that. That's the main thing. I also had the opinion for a long time that, this sounds terrible, but that actors should be director-proof. In other words, you know, they don't always know the show as well as you do. But most of them are good, but those two in particular, this is going back to my stage days, you know? I remember getting that, oh my God, it makes such a difference to have that direction. Yeah, I do remember that. I mean, you work with lots of different directors, and quite often in television, you know the show better than they do, because they come in and do one off, so they don't really give you that much direction in terms of characterisation. And also when you're doing a show on a regular basis, it becomes second nature to you, in the sense of you know basically how they'll block it, put you in positions, because you know where the cameras are and you know what shots they'll be looking for, so you can actually almost block yourself working with the camera people, which they love anyway, because they don't have to move us around. But there are some really sweet directors, and they'll sometimes say to you, if you're doing multiple takes, you know, they'll say, now do whatever you want to in one. In other words, freelance one of the scenes. That's also fun. You go, oh my gosh. But some of them are a bit nervous, but most of them are very professional and respectful, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Person to the left.
Hello.
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 I know you had a really long career, but I particularly liked you in the show called Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
I was wondering what it was like working on that set and those fellow actors.
It came upon me almost by accident, because we'd finished Fringe the year before, and the producers were going on to the next show, which was Sleepy Hollow. And I was back in Australia, and I got a call from the producer who said, John, can you please come? They'd had one episode already. Would you please come across? We've got an idea. And they told me about the idea, so I did. I went and did two seasons with them. 2 seasons was my limit at that time, because I had something else to go to. It was a very strange, exotic role, wasn't it, Golly? For those who don't know, it's hard to even know what his name is. He had about 3 different names. It's a strange background, but it was a powerful role, you know. Particularly season 1, I thought was pleasing. I did go back, by the way, to do the last couple of episodes. That came about because Tom, who was the leading man in it, I saw him at a conference in Atlanta, I think it was. Anyway, And we were reminiscing about how well we got on together. So, I wish you'd come back and do the last couple of episodes. I said, I will, I will. And so they were filming in Atlanta by that stage. So I went and did and caught up with the old crew. That was fun to think of. But 2 seasons was my limit at that point. This is much later. And it was just really kind of like two of us meeting here and saying, I wish you were still doing the show. So we did. We asked the producers and they brought me back in to finish it. It really, it only had 4 seasons in it, and I don't know how far it could have gone. I don't. It felt like it had run its course before. And it's a hard story to keep creating, Sleepy Hollow. It's a little story, and they've expanded it into a series with all these new characters coming in. But it was fun. I mean, the whole fantasy side of it for me as an actor was fun. Being buried for how many years he was buried, and then coming out of the grave. I often wondered what he ate down there. You don't know what I'm talking about. I know that. Sorry, I don't know if I've answered your question or not. I sometimes reminisce a bit because what was the question?
You answered it.
Oh, thank you. What a good boy. Yes, hello.
Hi, I'm mainly a fan of you through your work as Denethor, and I was wondering what was your favorite quote that you said in the films?
For different reasons. For example, I remember the first speech I did there was actually in the film much later, but you always film out of sequence, and he was walking along a corridor down to get burned, I think, and his first speech was, "No tomb for Denethor or Faramir, no long, slow sleep of death embalmed. We shall burn like the heathen kings of old." I remember it because it was and they're rather good ones. I mean, that remains to that. There's some funny ones like bring wood and oil. I mean, why that's such a people know that? I know that was the one line I kept getting wrong. I'd say bring oil and wood, and Peter say, "No, mate, no, go back." You know, Peter Jackson. So that's the only line I can remember stuffing up. Bring wood and oil. Flee for your lives. I remember that one. I remember it because it was quite a tricky stage. We were out on a grassed area with those long things on, and I had to walk backwards across this fairly, probably about 20 yards, going backwards with the long dress on, and then turn to the camera, which was right there, right in front of me like that. And I think that's what he said, flee for your lives. I think that was it. But it was really tricky just to start with walking backwards with a gown on over the grass, and then turning. So it had to be absolutely perfect turn. That was pretty challenging, but I liked doing it. I love doing the scenes with Ian McKellen. To me, I was working with probably the leading stage actor in the world at that stage, and so it was a joy to work with Ian, and we became pretty close actually, pretty good mates. So many things. I love working with Billy Boyd. Pippin, sweetie he was. What a voice that boy had. Do you remember that? What he sang that time? I don't know if you do or not. But it was during a very impressive scene. I remember we were setting up a great big hall, and Denethor was at the table eating, and 200 people going around the place doing stuff, and this is what he says to Faramir now. But at one stage, Peter Jackson said to Billy Boyd, Pippin, he said, "Billy, can we hear that song?" And Billy said, "What?" And he started to sing unaccompanied in the middle of the room, and within 3 seconds, absolutely quiet.
We had Billy Boyd 2 years ago on our show, John, and I asked him to sing the song.
Did he?
And he did.
Oh,
you can find on YouTube, and you had the whole audience. He wasn't prepared, so it wasn't something staged. We just asked, and he sang it, and you had the whole room completely quiet. It was amazing.
Still, absolutely.
Goosebumps everywhere.
Oh, I was. It brought me to tears.
I can imagine. All right, the person to the left.
Hi.
Hello.
My question is about Fringe.
Yes.
It's I suppose there's a couple parts to the questions, if that's okay. It's the classic favorite episode. So favorite episode in general, I suppose, and favorite episode to film. I don't know if it's just because it was fun or because you felt challenged or accomplished. And favorite episode in terms of purely storytelling for Walter and how much it pushed the story forward for him.
Yeah.
Or backwards.
Yes, I think I still have very fond memories of doing an episode called Peter. It's when Walter went across to the other to get Peter from the other side. I remember it with great affection. I was the only one of the principal actors that was in that, and I had to do that trek across. I was to go and steal him from the other place. I remember that very vividly. There was some good episodes though. White Tulip was a favourite, wasn't it? You know White Tulip? It was gorgeous. And I've been thinking lately about a scene for some reason or other that I remember with some affection, and I think it was called Chinatown. And Walter had gone on some quest down to Chinatown, and he got there and he got lost. Poor old fella. And he wanted to make a phone call, and he couldn't work out how to do it. And he lost his money, and he was sitting down there on a bench, hopefully shouting. And a Chinese woman came up to him and said, "You're right." And so she took him home and gave him some food. And finally, they let Astrid know where he was. And she came and rescued him. But just the intense powerlessness of powerlessness. Not what do you do when you're powerless? You got nothing. You don't know where you are. How do you know who you are? So it was horrible. But I remember that one because it was so vulnerable. What was that other one I did? Might have been White Tulip. There were a lot of good ones though. I remember one called Brown Betty. And it started off, I think, with Walter smoking a great big bong. Got stoned. And that's when we all disappeared and started singing, and we had singing corpses and stuff. Very strange episode. Very strange episode, that one. But we liked it. I remember we all got the actors got called in special call one day to go into a sound studio to record our voices. We didn't know what it was about. What the hell are we doing here? And they were recording because they wanted us to sing as part of the character we were doing. And the only person they didn't bring in at that stage was Lance Reddick. God bless him, he's dead now. But who is a very fine singer. They didn't have anything down for him or to sing in a goal. So we got that straightened out. But it was so funny. It opened up. They didn't think they'd get this through the network, by the way. It's just this big gurgling sound of him sucking on a bong. So the whole thing, they were stoned the whole time. And I remember saying to the producer once, it was in the first season, and they had Walter doing some experiment. And I said, "Oh guys, come on, this is not even high school stuff, year 10 stuff. He wouldn't be doing this. He's got an IQ of 170 or something like that." And I said, can we just at least have them doing experiments that are feasible within science, feasible within advanced science? That was the agreement. That so most of the stuff he did after that, depending on what science you're into, you could find some sort of a justification. And the alternate universe stuff we were doing is now common knowledge. It's all over the place. And quantum mechanics, which is just fascinating. And I studied it too. I mean, I loved that stuff. But no, they didn't ever put us doing anything that wasn't beyond the realm of possibility in science somewhere, theoretical physics. I enjoyed that. I'm telling you the story. So I said to them once, guys, if you want me to do that sort of experiment, I said it's okay as long as I'm drunk or stoned, because he wouldn't do it otherwise. And I don't think Orphan drank. But anyway, when they finally got me to do a couple of them, they made sure I was stoned or high or something. There's another one where he was seeing little flying green things around the place.
I hate to interrupt, John, but we're running out of time.
Oh, no!
I'm sorry. So we got a few final questions, so fire it away. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
My question is, what was needed to turn into Denethor, and how long did it take?
To turn into Denethor?
Yeah, what was needed, like a week prosthetics?
Oh, prosthetics, I see. Well, yes, the wig, we all had handmade wigs made by Peter King. He's a brilliant English wig master. They were tempted to put me with a beard, but I didn't want to do it. I tested with it, and the reason is that my face tells a message. And I said, but this is covering it up. If we can go without that, it would be better for me, so they did. The wardrobes were amazing, truly amazing. Everything about Lord of the Rings, the standard was so high, that when you went there, you said, oh my God. But everyone went for it. And only one person was ever sacked from the show, because everyone else went for it at all levels. Preparation, yeah. And the other thing I remember is getting the chain mail that we had to wear, which was very heavy and all knitted together by one particular artist. And it was brilliant. And I said to one stage, I said, this is wonderful. I'd like to meet the man that does this, or woman. And they took me to the workshops, and there was a man sitting inside of a little plastic bubble almost, gluing them all on by hand. I don't know if he had a brain left after all the stuff going through it. But I was so impressed. Everything was so detailed and so impressive. Everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Final but one question.
Yeah. We loved you in French. That's why we call you alternate at home when we see you on TV. You had a small part in Legends of Tomorrow. That made me wonder when I saw this episode a couple of years ago, and now you are here. What went through your head, and what did you feel like when they asked you to get dressed as Denethor from Lord of the Rings after so many years and play yourself, John Noble?
It was sort of started a bit like a joke. They said, they named that episode starring John Noble as the name of the episode, I think. And they had this idea of someone had heard a voice, and they said, and then they saw this man on television, that's him. So they had to come back and find me, but it was me, it was John, just Australian John, not. So I got pretty free large to say what I wanted to say with this Australian accent. But getting the costume, they did a very good job with the costume, I thought. And it was such fun to do it. And that was my old film crew in Vancouver, so I knew all the crew, just like a big reunion. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Final question, take it away.
Hello John, welcome to Belgium. How is it for you to go to events like this and meet the people who were touched by your work and our fans?
Okay, I have an answer for that. Because I started in stage work and spent a great part of my career there. So in stage work you get feedback, audience and so forth. And then you go to film and television, you don't. You shoot a scene and then you move on to the next one. So and the reason I come to these things is because I do get a chance to meet the people that have been affected by the work. And I find that very rewarding, actually. That's one of the reasons I do it. I very much enjoy meeting people and hearing their connection with the work. Because when you're doing it on set, you don't realise who you're connecting to. And I get it, I still love doing that, which is why I'm here, one of the reasons I'm here.
Thanks for being here, by the way. That's all we have time for. Give it up for John Noble! Thank you.